Here's the second lie I think that's out there that too many of us buy. You are what you do. You are what you do. We are defined by our work. I mean, when a boy is a little boy, say, what do you want to be when you grow up? He says, does he say, I want to be a gentleman, I want to be patient, I want to be kind? No. What do you want to be? I want to be a doctor. No, you want to do a doctor. That isn't what you are, that's what you do, and you aren't what you do. But our whole world, a lot of people who are single, the tendency is to get married to their career, to get married to their work. But you were never meant, and a lot of married people do the same thing and ruin their family. You were never meant to find your identity in what you do. We were out in California one time, and we weren't in an earthquake, but we played around a little bit because we said, our kids were little, and I said, we had an oldest daughter and 2 younger brothers. I said, let's have an earthquake drill. It was just a dumb thing. Don't ask me to explain what our family does. Like, go mad. I don't know why but we'd have and when we got back to New Jersey, we don't have earthquakes, but they want to do it all the time. Let's have an earthquake drill. Here's an earthquake drill. I'd say, earthquake drill! And all of a sudden, Doug, our oldest son, middle child, will go running over to our oldest, who is his sister. And he would hug her. And the dialogue would go something like this. I'd say, Doug, what are you doing? He said, Dad, you said if there was ever an earthquake to hang on to something heavy. Man, he's lucky he didn't die at the age of 6, man. That was almost his last birthday. She's older. She didn't deserve this. Now, I'll tell you something. Listen to this. When you're trying to figure out what to hang your identity on, you better hang on to something heavy. And your work isn't it. See, it's a pretty shaky foundation. Your work, if you are what you do, it's or even your abilities. It's a shaky foundation, first of all, for your worth. Because what happens? You lose your job? Do you lose you? You lose your great ability? Something happens, you're in an accident, you can't do what you do anymore? Or did you just lose you? Is that your worth? What you do? See, that's not something heavy enough to hang on to. I mean, in the working world, let's face it, man, you're as good as how many you sold this week. You talk about conditional love. You're as good as your latest review. Claudia Lyon is on our team, is here tonight, and she's been a model in New York City. She told me that if you show up for the shoot and you've gained 2 pounds, you're out. This is why I could never be a model. There are several other reasons. Although I was on the cover of Field and Stream once. But the fact is that it's a lousy basis for worth because your worth is going to keep going up and down with this very conditional love. If any of you were in sports, you know you were as good as your last game. Nobody cares about the game before. They didn't care about if you were champions last season. All of life is like that. If you are what you do, you are never secure. It's a shaky foundation for your worth. It's a shaky foundation to base your priorities on. I have a friend who's a jogger, but otherwise normal. And somebody told me they were going to open an organization called Jogaholics Anonymous. If somebody said they had the urge to jog, they said you give them a call, they come over and drink with you. But, no, only kidding. But he jogs, and that's good for him. But do you know what? He's really good. He's always trying to go faster and farther. And one night, he went out, and he noticed he had a little pain in his head, but he just kept running, then it passed, and he went on. He got back home, everything was fine until he started to write. And he noticed he couldn't make things work when he started to write. What had happened was, it took many hours to discover, but he had been on what the doctor said was a runner's high. He said, Bruce, you've had a stroke. But you didn't know you did. Because you were on a runner's high, you didn't even feel the pain. You were running so hard, you didn't even know the damage you were doing. Do you know that happens to people who believe that they are what they do? They run so hard on that track to success that they have no idea who they're running by and who they're running over. It's a lousy thing to base your priorities on. It's a lousy thing to base your worth on. It's a lousy thing to base your fulfillment on because you can never get enough. I jotted down a quote here from one of my favorite movies, Chariots of Fire. Some of you may have seen a number of years ago about really contrasting two Olympic runners in the 1924 Olympics, won the Academy Award for Best Picture. And Harold Abrahams was an athlete from Great Britain, one of the greats actually over many years. And he was talking to his coach because everything in life for him was winning. He was what he did. He was winning in sports. And he had just lost in the 200 meter. It was just before the 100 meters. Listen to what he says in the movie. I'm forever in pursuit. See if anybody can identify with this. I'm forever in pursuit, and I don't even know what I'm chasing. I'll race down that narrow 4-foot wide corridor, 10 lonely seconds to justify my existence, or the next sales quota, or the next promotion. I've known the fear of losing, but now I'm almost too frightened to win. Ken Hatfield was the coach of the University of Arkansas football team for a number of years, and before that he played for the University of Arkansas. My wife is from there. She'll do the suey yell for you if you'd like, but not in front of me. And I like to leave the room before that. She'll do the Razorback yell. But the University of Arkansas won the national championship in 1964. Ken Hatfield was a player, later became the coach. They beat Nebraska. This was what he had lived his life for, was to be on the number one college football team in the country. Here's what I heard him say to thousands of people. He said, you know what happened? He said, the next day I saw the headlines of everything I ever wanted in my life. Arkansas is number one. He said, I've never been more depressed in my life. Here were his words. He said, my God had died. And I got my God, and the next day, it died. See, it's a mistake to think that you are what you do. You know what the truth is? The problem with this is what I call extrinsic worth. Extrinsic worth means I'm getting my worth from something outside of me. If you take that away, I lose me. I've had too many friends who've lost positions after 30 years of doing everything the corporation. They danced to the tune of the company. They did it all, and they had 20 minutes to clear out their desk one day. And said, is that what 30 years is worth to you? Who am I now? You better not be what you do when that day comes. No, see, that's extrinsic worth, and you'll never be secure. Here's the truth. You are intrinsically valuable. You are not what you do. You are intrinsically valuable. Your worth is not based on who rated you or who complimented you or who dated you. Some of us, we've got to learn that our worth is based on who created you. It is not what you do, it's who made you that makes you valuable. In the words of the Bible, you are God's workmanship created for good works He prepared in advance for you to do. Listen to this. King David in the Bible prays this prayer to God. God, you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know that full well. Please listen to this. You got all the worth you could possibly imagine the moment the Creator began you. It was built into you from conception. Your worth is who created you. And if it doesn't matter if anybody dates you, well, it matters, but I mean, as far as your worth. See, we keep walking around saying, would you please validate my ticket? Would you please give me some approval? Would you please love me? Would you please take me out? Would you please let me know I'm attractive? Would you please let me know I have some worth? Here, please stamp my ticket, stamp my ticket, stamp my ticket. And God stamped your ticket the moment you were conceived and said, masterpiece. You know what's beautiful about that kind of worth? There's no one on earth who gave it to you, and there's no one on earth who can take it away from you. They may leave you, they may abandon you, they may abuse you, they may not know how valuable you are, but you got to go on what your Creator knows about you. I was at the Louvre, how's my French? The Louvre in Paris, or the Louvre, and for those of us who have no class, and or didn't go to class, but that's more of us, yes, we have several fellows volunteering. But I was at the Louvre, and I went through, saw all the masterpieces and everything, and I went into this one room, and all of a sudden I said, man, police guards, special lighting, huge crowds, and I went in, and there the whole wall was taken up by this one lady smiling at me. Who was it? Mona Lisa. Now, I walked up this little signature at the bottom, Leonardo da Vinci. I said, that's great. Now, I don't know what the thing is what they call priceless. They can't even put a price on it. I mean, I know paintings I've never heard of that have sold for $50 million, so what would that sell for? Well, I went out in the lobby and I bought the Mona Lisa for 25 cents. No, this is true. I brought the Mona Lisa home with me. 25 cents. You say, you did not. Yes, I did. It was a postcard, but it was the Mona Lisa. Same picture. There she is smiling. You say, wait, that doesn't count. What's the difference between the postcard Mona Lisa and the one on the wall? I'll tell you the difference. The one on the wall is a handmade, hand-painted, one-of-a-kind, original masterpiece signed by the creator. The other is a copy. Originals are priceless. Copies go for cheap. You are, because of the nature of our Creator, a unique, one-of-a-kind, handmade, signed by the Creator, original masterpiece, unless you try to copy someone else, in which case you'll go for cheap. You are not what you do. You are very valuable because of who created you. So now, you know what your approach to life is? You don't say, I am valuable because of what I do. You say, I do valuable things because I am valuable. And there's 3 wonderful liberating words you can now live by. Nothing to prove. What freedom there is to say, I have nothing to prove. My ticket has been validated by my Creator. Anything you give me, thank you, I'll appreciate, is a bonus.